Hey guys, this is Jay, and this is the fourth episode of the content creation course, where we have beautiful and some really great strategies around the content creation space. Now, in case if you have missed out on the first three episodes, here's the link. Go ahead, watch it before you come for the fourth episode. And now, the first speaker, Joe Sanok, is actually going to talk about some quick points and why content is actually the king today, and why it is so important for us to just focus on having good content before we can actually go ahead and make a profession out of it.
In general, people are really overwhelmed and busy. Think about who you actually listen to. Who do you follow on a regular, consistent basis? Maybe there's one podcaster that you always listen to, or there's a blog post that is your go-to, or maybe there's a recipe guide that you know their recipes just nail it. But in general, you don't give your attention to many people, nor should we expect that our audiences are going to give attention to us. That's why amazing content helps you find new people to get into your sales funnel while also serving those people that you've already connected with. When people come to your website, there's only two questions that they ask themselves. It's because we're so overwhelmed. Am I in the right place? And can this person actually help me? Content is king for a number of reasons. Whether you make podcasts, video blogs, whether you do a regular blog or an email course or an ebook or an e-course, no matter how you create content, what you're doing is you're connecting with the pain that your audience is feeling and giving them solutions as the expert. When you position yourself as the guide or the expert and allow your client to thrive from that, they're going to trust you more and they're going to want to buy more of your products. Another reason that content is king is that we do give attention to things that matter. When people create content that doesn't matter, that's just out there to write for SEO or for Google, that's not going to help you actually grow and stand out. Instead, we want to have content that's amazing, that goes beyond what everyone else is doing, so that yes, Google looks for you and they like you and they rank you higher. But even more importantly, we want to connect with your ideal client.
And now we know that content is the ruler, content is king. So now we know why is it so important for us to spend a good amount of time and energy into creating quality content to promote a product, or services, a brand, anything. In the next video, we're going to talk about how you can use content marketing to help the audience know you, your personal brand, the best.
First point as we start is that you need to be creating original content that will also allow you to just have authority within the niche or industry that you might be focusing on. My second point here is that you need to make sure that you are communicating from a place of honesty and authority. Now, when it comes to personal branding, right, you cannot lie about who you are. Unfortunately, you need to tell us exactly who you are, your qualifications, your history, basically in your professional history and expertise. You need to tell us all of those things. And for me, what I've also found when it comes to building a personal brand is that when you tell people your struggles, when you tell people your wins, when you tell people your strategies that you have used in order to get where you are at that moment, that is what people are obviously going to engage with more. And you are being honest when you fail, you are being honest when you make mistakes, and that makes you human and also allows people who are coming after you, who are probably in the same industry that you are in, or they want to start businesses just like you, to feel seen and understand, okay, everyone goes through what they might be going through at that moment. So this basically moves us to my next point, which is that your content needs to be relevant, valuable, and obviously educational. So there's no point in opening a personal brand account on social media just to look pretty, just to show people that your meetings, looking pretty at your meetings, just to show people looking pretty at like the functions that you attend. Yes, that is something that you can do, obviously, to drive the authority and that you are part of certain things that are quite big. But if you're not educating me and all I see is just you looking pretty, then I'm not going to be interested. So if I'm following you, I want to obviously learn something from you. I want to see your journey. I want to hear stories that are true and educational, just as I mentioned in my last point. My fourth point is one that I always obviously preach about, is to be consistent. without consistency, guys, again, you're not going to get very far. You need to remember that when you start putting out content the way that you might be putting it out, especially if you're going to create an educational platform, whether it's your podcast or YouTube channel, all of those things need to be consistent.
Whether you're a brand or a solopreneur out to sell something of their own, or just a random individual wanting to showcase their fine qualities, self-promotion is now quintessential in today's competitive world. Be it a job interview, or at some party, or at some family gathering, you have always been in a situation where you have to promote yourself, where you have to prove of your skills, talents, and the value that you bring on the table. Hasn't that been? And now that brings all of us content creators together to wonder what is actually an effective marketing strategies and how compelling an advertisement should be in order to make the user or the consumer buy it. Human brain is wired for stories. Don't we all love a beautiful, rich, engaging story? That brings us to the commercials and the advertisement sectors, where it has been proved that all of us users, consumers, tend to remember advertisement that only we relate to, and the ones that provide us a rich, engaging engagement along with an effective storytelling. Using your content to craft a compelling story is now what we will have to learn, because that will help us do business like never before. The idea is to market without actually having to sell. And basically that brings us to talk about how to write a beautiful story. Jack is here to share some of the fine important points in writing a compelling stories for a rich and an engaging experience with the users.
Content marketing is possibly the most crucial element of any marketing strategy. It's your time to shine, your opportunity to put your best foot forward to attract and convert prospects into customers without having to sell to them. But as today's customers don't decide to buy from you based on what you sell, but rather why they should buy from you, creating content that is engaging and entertaining should be the driving force behind your content marketing strategy. Now, I know I just told you that content marketing isn't about selling to prospects, but what if I told you that turning your content into stories might actually enable you to sell? Enter the art of storytelling. It's not a revelation when I say everyone loves a great story. It's a fact. But the beauty of storytelling is so much more than just telling stories. In the world of content marketing, stories are the perfect way to humanize your brand, as they're the beating heart of inbound marketing as a whole. They are what people remember. Stories give us a reason to communicate and relate. They are stimulating and give us something to believe in. Utilizing storytelling in your inbound marketing provides the opportunity to portray the customer as the hero. Storytelling is not a process, method, or technique. It's an art. And just like art, it requires creativity, vision, skill, and practice. When stories are told well, they can change your behavior, your opinions, even your life. So as valuable as storytelling is, it isn't something you can grasp in one sitting. So let's break it down. Before writing any story, it's important to know that there are 3 components that make up a good story, regardless of what you're trying to tell. Characters. Every story features at least one character, but the main character is the key component in relating your audience back to the story. The main character is the bridge between you, the storyteller, and the audience. The goal is for the audience to put themselves in the character's shoes, and if they do, they'll be more likely to follow through with your call to action. Conflict. The conflict is the lesson of how the character overcomes a challenge. Conflict in stories elicits emotions that connects the audience on a personal level through relatable experiences. The power lies in what you're conveying and teaching. If there's no conflict, it's likely not a good story. Resolution. Every good story has an ending, but it doesn't always have to be happily ever after. Your story's resolution should wrap up the story and provide context around the characters and conflict, and leave your audience with a call to action.
And now let's conclude this video with some of the final words by Alex, where she talks about the importance of having an engaging storytelling and the wide range of stories that we all have listened, heard, or watched.
There's no doubt that storytelling is insanely powerful, and I'm definitely not the first person to tell you that this form of communication is absolutely critical for engaging your audience, especially in a saturated and highly competitive market. Every good copywriter and marketer knows this to be true and uses storytelling structures in their sales letters, landing pages, campaigns, and website copy.